Okay, and we're live.
Yay! Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. Glad we're doing this.
Planning this for how long? Like a year?
Honestly, that's not that bad in the grand scheme of like projects planned and never done
True.
or like delayed. All right.
So basically the podcast started as a result of our bottom bunk conversations because we grew up in bunk beds and we'd have late nights on my bed talking about life and getting things off our chests that for some reason we couldn't process normally during the day. So we talked about them at night.
That's why it's 11 p.m. now.
Hence why the vibes are here. It's definitely the vibes. Maybe you should turn out the living room light. I don't know. I help.
I don't turn off lights while I'm downstairs. You're tripping.
Got it. My lamp is on, obviously, because it's light in here.
Okay.
Anyway, anything else you want to add?
No, I would just say that the bottom bunk is a safe space, but not like a safe space because we don't want to coddle our American minds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Big ideas, things that we're thinking about, that are important to the greater society.
And also sometimes gossip. LOL. I'm joking. Not literally.
Where they do that at? We don't gossip.
Not here. Not here.
So let's talk about this podcast for a second.
Yes.
Let's talk about where we see this going in the process down the line. Because I think right now we're thinking like...
I'm sorry, is this a planning meeting or a podcast?
Okay, maybe I'm confused. I said, let's talk about our brand and how we came up with that project.
I thought you
said we're supposed to be talking about the podcast and how we came up with it and how you start and work on projects. That's
no. That's okay, yes. But that wasn't I was thinking more about like not this project specifically. Okay. I was thinking more about like other projects you might be working on. Or like yes, it was two separate things, okay? You talk about the part.
Now you're yelling at me because I'm being gaslit.
I'm not yelling. And we don't use that word on this podcast, okay?
Oh, we don't? That's so crazy. I feel like it describes so many things perfectly. Anyway, continue.
That's probably because you're using it wrong.
I don't think I am.
I was saying that we should introduce the podcast and then we should talk about the process of building a project like this and why the things that might hinder us or a person in general from creating a project and what ways this project is different and how we push through those in order to actually release this. That's what I was saying.
See, okay. Got it. That's a lot more clear now.
Okay.
It's gaslit. So then maybe we should start with...
We're going to start a banned words list is what we're going to start because I don't want to hear gaslit. I don't want to hear girl boss.
Girl boss?
I don't want to hear any...
Who says girl boss anymore? That's wild. Anyway, so maybe we should talk about the importance of projects and what they mean to us personally, because I think for different people, projects can be just like a hobby or projects a way of life. For me, I think of projects as the start of something. So like my projects aren't going to be projects forever. They're going to be nurtured into living and breathing systems.
Interesting.
Sorry, that was a little bold, but...
No, I mean, that makes sense to me. Say more.
You know, I think of them as projects right now, but the projects that I care deeply about, I want them to be sustainable and I want them to have legacy for future generations after. And so right now they're projects because of like how I'm approaching them and like the way that I'm thinking about them. But long term, like I don't think of them as projects forever. That's just me though.
So when you say you don't think of them as projects forever, do you mean like they're going to be self-sustaining, or
Yeah,
do
they're
you
gonna be
mean like
sustainable,
self-sustaining?
yeah, self-sustaining. That way I can pass them down generations after me and it'll be something like I've left on the earth. And yeah,
That's so interesting. What's the nature of your projects for the most part that you would pass down?
thinking about a lot of different things. I have a lot of writing that I want to do. Like I want to do like a poetry book or something like that. Publish that one day. I don't know how soon. I haven't been focused on it, but I also have some ministry program type things that I want to do with young people that I'm very passionate about. My projects are focused on like education because that's something that's important to me. And I guess I don't know if I would consider the research that I'm doing projects. They're technically projects, so I guess I would include them, but they're not the sustainable ones that I was talking about earlier. I mean,
Mm.
I guess they are sustainable because they'll be published eventually, but they're not going to be living, breathing systems in 10, 20 years, unless that does happen and I win like a Nobel Peace Prize or something for it, but I highly doubt that.
Never say never.
God's plan, bro. But yeah, that's about it that I can think of. I mean, I've thought of so many different ideas. I thought of doing a hair salon once, but now there's so many hair salons, so I gave up on that. And I don't know. I like doing hair, but anyway, I thought about doing a what's it called? A performing arts studio for like young
Mm.
people in the inner city, and like I was just gonna like make it really like a community center kind of, but like focused on performing arts. Because there's a lot of community centers, but they don't really do nothing. They just have basketball courts and
Fair enough.
cafeterias and stuff. I don't know what they have at those centers. I guess I should go to one. But anyway, um, I want it to be like performance arts focused, and I want like urban inner city youth to just have something to do if they're not interested in like basketball. If you're not
Fair
interested in
enough.
gangs, here's some poetry slams that you can do or dance
I'm
classes.
sorry, did you say games or gangs?
Bloods and Crips.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If that's not your
Because I
life.
was like, there's no way she said something that problematic, but she did. So that's okay. That's cool.
You can edit it out if you
Nope. Minimal
know.
editing. Minimal editing is the way to go.
Oh well. So yeah, those I think that would be like my dream to like implement that and like the school we talked about. But those are the only things.
Mm.
They're just visions that I like don't do anything with.
I think it's so interesting that you think of them as like things to pass on and things to like make self-regulatory. That's not the word you use. What was the word you used?
Sustainable.
Yes, okay. Because I think most of my projects, since I'm interested in like film and like writing and stuff, I think of them kind of like the Bible,
Oh, sacrilegious.
written not in any blasphemous or sacrilegious way, just that like written for a specific audience with a specific purpose, and like, but I never write, I think, with my like kids or like future people in mind. Yeah, I mostly write to people that are here, or I write like about issues that I think are important to me now. But I don't know, I've never thought of like I've written diaries and stuff, and like I keep my own diaries because I think that they might be helpful to like my kids, but I've never written anything with the intention of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like, this is gonna be like self-sustainable, which is really interesting because I don't know, I just never think of my projects that way. And it might be because I'm like a huge like control freak.
No, I think that's so
Uh,
interesting because despite that, like, I think that's like completely opposite of me. And I think it's so cool because like we can like bring different like perspectives to things that we work on together.
mm,
Because like even with the vlog that I told you I wanted to do, like I'm doing that with like the sole intention of like future people to like go back and watch that and like learn things from it. Like that is the sole reason that I do things because I want to like
yeah,
I'm always focused on people after me. And I feel like even though like you're kind of the opposite, I feel like that's a good thing because it kind of like
but I think it's
it's
really
necessary.
ironic. I think it's really ironic because I am interested in like photography and writing and like videos, and these are things that we consider artifacts from like people that came before us. So I think it's so interesting and like possibly self-centered that like it never crossed my mind to like, I don't know, that's so interesting to me.
That is crazy. But I think it's purposeful. I think it's intentional, especially because we do so much together and everything that we do kind of just meshes. And so like I think that's just important that the different perspectives that we bring.
Mhm.
It's cool.
Yeah, but I can definitely tell, especially like I feel like I'm a person that doesn't go into like projects with intention a lot. I think my process is just different. Like I don't write with intention though. I think a lot of times I think my writing is very similar to like an NF style of like this is therapy and like it's got some like levels of development to go through with no specific intention until like the end possibly.
Yeah. And um I think that you also are just a very in the moment person. Even if like you're anxious about something in the future, like it doesn't like phase you in your right now. You know what I mean? Like
No.
I feel like you're just very centered where you are. Like you're grounded in reality. And so like when you think about the past or the future, it just doesn't like affect you as much as most people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about how accurate that statement is.
I don't know. That's just how I feel because like you're able to like ground yourself on things that you're currently like in the middle of, despite things that may be like troublesome from your past or troublesome in the future. Like, I don't know. It could be totally inaccurate, but based off like the way that you communicate, that's how like it seems.
I think that's interesting because I don't think I've met many people that would consider me grounded. Like I think I'm very inconsistent and flighty when it comes to my projects at the very least.
I
Like I
mean, I just meant in general, but with your projects, I think a lot of things that you like covering your projects are like right now things that are affecting you right now.
oh yeah.
And so that's why I brought that up because I'm the type of person like if I'm focused on something in the future, there's no way I'm gonna like be worried about what's going on around me. Like I just can't do it. I can't focus like that.
No.
If there's something that I know is happening in the future that's gonna bother me, or there's something in my past that's like wrecking me, like I can't like sit and think about something that's going on in the next room. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
I just think it's funny because you're like, so what are your intentions for this podcast? And I'm like, sis, the way I have none. Like you're like, let's make a plan. And I'm like, there is none. Here we are.
well, I honestly think we feel better when we don't have a plan. I was just saying that as far as like big picture goals long term.
Mm, I don't know what long term is. Okay. I live at a month to month, and I don't mean my finances. I mean, quite literally, my brain can only function 1 month at a time,
I
1 week at
don't
a
mean
time.
my finances. I knew what you meant, sis.
Just clarify.
So you're working on,
I'm working on our stuff right now, and I was actually fasting this
how
week about
long?
it because like all I think ever since January, since we finished the fast, I've been waiting for summer so that I could like fast again, like for long periods of time and do nothing because I felt like my fast was really productive because I just sat in my bed all day. Not that I was like sleeping, but like doing nothing, something about it, just being bored and being able to like talk to God at whatever time. Like my creativity was just like flowing. Like I was like, I felt really at peace and really like recharged and like ready for the new semester. I feel like I needed that again and I really wanted it. And I really want this summer to be that where I can just like have creativity flow and like get closer to God and like do my thing. And I was worried that that wouldn't happen and that I would like have to get a job. But when I was fasting this week, and then you called and you were like, let's do this project. And I was like, hey, let's do this project. And then it just felt like everything was coming together with like the
Fell into
jingle.
place.
The jingle got like, oh my God, I'm so excited to do the editing so everyone can hear this jingle that we wrote. Everything just like fell into place. And then I don't know, part of me was getting a little scared because we do start things a lot and we'll like get the ball rolling and then snags hit and like we just can't get past it for some
I
reason,
was scared
which
too.
is so weird to me because usually I think I'm a pretty persistent person. And I never know if I'm like persistent or lazy. I go back and forth between the two. But one of the things I feel like I came to term with this past year was the fact that like there's processes to my projects and that like projects takes however long they need to take. And I feel like it's easy for me to get frustrated or like get scared to start something because I'm scared I won't finish it or like so on and so forth. But like even the work we did for this podcast last time around like contributed to like the brand that we're building now when we were just like, oh shoot, we have this like podcast idea that we've already worked on. Let's just do that. And so that's been really comforting for me to know is that like even if like things don't go the way that we want them to now, like everything works together in the end, basically. And I was listening to something and they were like, if you're disappointed, it means that like you just haven't waited long enough or something like that. I don't think I'm quoting that right, but he was basically saying that like everything works together in the end. So if it doesn't look like it's working together, then you're not at the end yet. And I thought that was so amazing because I was like really scared
Profound.
because I get so excited when you come to me with stuff, but you're such a planner that I always feel bad when like things don't go to your plan because sometimes I feel like it's my fault and I'm like, oh shoot, I like could have pushed harder or like I should have like done
Mm,
something or like should have took it more seriously, you know? Or like sometimes like the fear of like pushing things out like hinders us from doing things. But that's like the thing is like that's what I'm realizing is that like all the things that I did publish, I'm glad they were published. And there are a lot of things that I published that like did not need to be published the way that they were. So like now I'm at the point where I can say like however long this project takes is how long it takes and like just enjoy the process, which is making me feel much better this time around.
yeah, I think I'm the same way. I think that there's a lot of things that I get upset when I can't like power through and do it. But the reality is that like when God needs it to be done, it'll be done. And like as long as I'm not slacking off, like just being lazy, like I don't think there's ever been a project where I just stopped because I was lazy, you know? I That's never happened. But usually it's because like other stuff comes up and like, now I'm in school and God has me like doing things here and putting things together. And like honestly, like I don't even get mad anymore. Like it doesn't bother me anymore when things don't go according to my plans because at the end of the day, like we've been talking about is like our plans aren't really our plans. And
Mhm,
like it's good to be intentional, like it's good to have a plan, it's good to have
mhm.
like a vision, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't belong to us. And so I
Yeah.
that's what keeps me grounded and like realizing that everything I'm doing, I'm not just doing it for the heck of doing it. I'm doing it like I really enjoy having plans because it keeps me focused on a goal and it makes it just so much easier to work on things. Like if I have like an outline of everything I want to do, like it's easy to just check stuff off rather than like playing it by ear and then getting discouraged and getting confused and whatnot.
Interesting. I just find it very like I don't know, I guess I get like amazed every time I remember that like life is really all about balance and life is always fluctuating and we're always fluctuating. You said something about being lazy or not being lazy, and I feel like that has something I've been really thinking about recently because I feel like, especially as somebody who like enjoys philosophy and enjoys like the arts, it's very easy for other people to look at me and say, like, she's literally slacking. Like, she wants to be a starving artist. She's just gonna sit in her chair by a window and think. And it's like, fair enough, because that would be the life for me. Like,
You need to make time to think.
I would love that. That's fire for me. But like when everybody else, it's honestly, it's not even hustle culture. It's literally just like work in general, like work culture. And like the whole thing of like going back to the office and like everybody's like, oh, if you don't want to go back to the office, you're lazy and like all that stuff with like even what Kim K was saying about like get off your butt and work. Like there's so many things out there
Isn't
telling
that
you.
hustle culture?
I mean, it is, but it isn't because hustle culture is more like having multiple jobs, I think, and like trying to get somewhere. But work culture is just like you work a 9 to 5, like you have to work to survive, as opposed to like, like being an entrepreneur, like working when you want. Because I was thinking about that time Mr. Henry, our neighbor, called me a slacker. Do you remember that?
I think so. It sounds familiar,
And
but I don't remember the context.
mommy and daddy were like, we don't use that word.
What was the context of that?
There was none. There was not. People like to just talk at me sometimes. And if I had a nickel for every time someone did that, I would only have two.
He just said it out of the blue. No way.
Yeah, yeah, way. Yeah, way. That's
You were
exactly what
just
happened.
sitting outside and he said, "You little slacker."
No, he was like, "You know what you are? You're a slacker." And I was like,
Did you understand why he said it?
"Kayla, I was doing nothing." Like, maybe mommy told me to go outside and do something. Maybe he had heard mommy or daddy, like, talking to me about, like, following through or something like that. But, like, there was no, like, provocation. Like, I never even talked to this man. I can barely be bothered to say hi, so I don't know, like anyway, I was just thinking about that and how, like, I've never liked to work, and I was like, "Mommy, I don't wanna like, work." And mommy was like, "You should wanna work." And I was like, "I don't know if that's true." I forget what my original point was, but I think for me, especially with projects, it can be really, like, detrimental to have a failed project because part of me is always like, "Oh, you could have done more." But then part of me is also like, there's literally no more you could have done, which is that whole, like, Black, woman superhero complex that we all have, which
Wait,
is
curious question. Do you think that the fact that you still remember that he said that to you could be involving how you think about your work as never being like enough? Like, because inherently you think about that and you like think that it's true in some way, present day.
I mean, the crazy thing is that I just remembered that a few days ago,
Oh, okay.
but I know that other people have said that about me.
Okay. Wait,
I know that
like
other people have said that about
like
me, not in that way.
teachers.
I don't know. I wanna say people from church, like, I really wanna say people from church, but I don't
People in
know
church talk a
like, I
lot.
don't remember people, and I know that, like, people have definitely called me lazy a lot, and I'm pretty sure our parents have, but I can't remember specifics. But I think that I'm always the type of person that, like, does the least amount of work possible, and people would always be like, "Oh, that's so lazy." Like, like, small things, like putting something to the side instead of putting it away, it's like, "Oh, you're lazy." It's like, no, that's just convenient, like, that's just smart. It's right there, like, I'm gonna come back for it, like, stuff like that, which is just like
I feel like anytime people are like not OCD about things, people are just like, you're dirty.
yeah, but I just think it's really easy to fall into that pit of, like, "Oh, could I have done more?" Like, if I was less lazy, if I had more work ethic, if I was like, if I just worked harder, I guess, like, would it have worked out?
Maybe you're just meant to work smarter. I mean, not saying that work ethic isn't good to build up over time. We all have to build it up over time,
Yeah.
but you'll work hard on what's like important to you. That's what I'm
I
learning.
was gonna say,
I don't want
yeah,
to put energy into stuff that's not important to me.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's like that's what it's, like, hard to remember because I think what it is, like, when I compare, like, what I work hard at versus what other people work hard at, it looks really different. Like, some people work hard and stay up all night to finish their homework in high school. Not me, you know,
Never that.
never that. Sis was in bed at 10 every single night. And so to other people that might, like, look really lazy.
I never did that. Work smarter, not harder, sis. You do your homework at lunch during study hall. I did my homework during school day, so I didn't have barely nothing to do at home.
Yeah. I think it honestly just stems from, like, comparing myself to other people, which is, like, really easy to do. But that's why I haven't been on Instagram in a while because 'cause I'm, like,
I just
working.
deleted the app again today
Yeah.
because God was really getting on me because I've been thinking about the things that I'm taking in.
We should talk about social media again because this
Should.
guy I follow went on a Instagram fast, and he posted about it on YouTube, and I have some concerns about his I'm interested to know what you feel about, like, Christians on social media, and especially Christians on YouTube and Christians using clickbait, okay?
Think about that all the time because this one girl, I watched one of her videos and now her videos just always come up on my thing.
Uh,
And I saw this, I don't watch them anymore, but I know all about her life for some reason. I know she has a baby, I know she's married, I know she like, I didn't watch any of these videos, but I know all about her life now. And she posted
from
this
reading
one
the title.
video saying, she posted this one video and the title was, "This is my last YouTube video." That was like 6 months ago. And now like she has more videos and I was just like, she's a Christian though, and I was just like, that's interesting. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's something we should definitely put on the list because I have so many things to say about that. You know I do, and like,
I know.
don't let me get started on my TED talk. because
No,
God
half
has
of
been
my
talking to me about social
soapboxes.
media. Like that stuff is not a joke. And like it's gotten so bad now. Like I used to, you know how I used to be obsessed with comments. I can't look at them anymore because they're just like out of the box. Like
That's so funny. I've
I don't know
never
if
looked
maybe
at
my
them.
perspective is changing or if like they're actually getting worse, but like I just feel like social media is so like toxic. Anyway.
Do you want to add any final thoughts? We can just do final thoughts, and then I'll show you the project I'm working on.
Oh, we
I
can read to
finished one with him.
projects.
Yeah,
Okay. So final thoughts. I think projects are very personal things. I think that it's not something you can always do with people. People are always aren't going to understand it because there's something very personal about working on something as your own, and like there's a vulnerability that comes with it, and it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of like commitment depending on I guess what you're doing. And so I think for me, my biggest thing with projects is that I guess understanding where your vision's coming from and the purpose of it and like what that means to you 40 years from now.
I think Tori Roberts talked about like knowing your why. I don't know my why yet. I mean I think I know it, but I don't like know how to communicate it, or it's not at that level of my conscious yet. So it's on its way up. But I think for me, the thing that like I feel most about projects right now is like what you were saying, like it's a very individual thing. And one of the first things that like really helped me like understand that was some guy saying that like the things that you see in the spirit, like even your closest supporters won't be able to see sometimes because like it's your vision. And that really hurt me. Like that really broke me when I thought about it because like I don't know, to like see something and like want you to see it or like want mommy to see it and like she's out here asking me questions like I don't know. I'm like, oh, you know.
That won't ever happen with us though, because we're the same person. But anyway, I'm just kidding.
No, literally our vision's always the same. We should just trade eyes, honestly. Like just one of each.
Ooh.
And then the other thing was that I was just listening to Sarah Jakes Roberts this week, and she was saying that like the thing that we've all heard is like sometimes the path you're walking, like you won't have a role model for it. And I was like, he was like, if you're a trailblazer, then you don't get a role model, you know?
Mm, yeah.
And I think it's
So
really like,
true. I've
yeah.
learned that. And I low key feel like God has been like this entire year, ever since I got to Baylor, like God has been teaching me that kind of the hard way because the whole point of this program is that it's your own path. And like I'm not used to that. I'm used to like learning from other people. And even in like the way that I relate to him, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll be real quick. But
No,
even in the way that I like relate to him and like my spiritual walk, like I'm so used to like following what other people do. And I'm like, oh, well, I can do this because other Christians do it. And like, and he's teaching me, like, no, you do it the way I tell you to do it. Our
mm,
relationship is not me and that person's relationship. Anyway, I thought about that when you said that.
one thing that God taught me the hard way this year was that he is really territorial over his projects. Like what he says is his is his. And it's funny because I've never like been the type of person to have role models, but you know, like in college when we're talking about like creating your senior thesis, like it's all about like finding a mentor and like creating relationships with your professor, yada yada. No, like I couldn't get into screenwriting class. Like I couldn't like I even tried out for like that song thing, like to like do voice lessons or something, couldn't get in, like, and maybe I'm just bad, you know. Or like, but I think like what it was, and also like my mentor, that guy that reached out to me, we scheduled a Zoom meeting. This man never showed up and didn't send an email. Like I was sitting there
That's so
on
unprofessional.
the Zoom link. I sat on that Zoom link for and
Did
like
you email
40 minutes.
him?
No,
Oh, sis, you should have done 15 minutes and left. 40
I
minutes?
yes, yes, because it was an
So
early meeting. It was like
inconsiderate.
9 a.m. and I was like, but I had like ghosted him before, so I was like, it's 9 a.m. Let me get it. God really was like, no, okay, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know, and like I respect
You
it.
say he's territorial over his projects. You mean like he didn't want you to like go find any other sources of information to like.
I think part of it is like NYU will not claim what I made, like that kind of thing. But part of it also is like nobody's gonna claim like this. It's kind of the way like the Muslims wrote Muhammad as like that, like what an illiterate person, you know. I think it's like that sort of thing. It's like the thing you think is your weakness is like God can really strengthen you in those areas. And like, if you're naturally gifted or like talented or anointed in an area, then like sometimes that's for God to develop and he makes it known when that is the case. So what do you want to react to? Do you want to react to the painting that I'm doing?
What am I supposed to react to?
I don't know. Do you want to see it? I'm just asking you to see it.
Yes,
That's all I can think of.
you
That's the
can
only thing I'm
just
working. Well, how about you? What are you gonna show? It's show and tell now.
show. I'll show. Do I have any poems?
Yes, read a poem. Read us a poem.
No, not gonna do the poem. It's too early for that. I'll walk you through the thing I showed you the other day. You didn't really react to it much because you were tired. My little proposal thing.
Because that's changed now. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
I just
No,
mean
let's
we
do
don't
it.
have to like read it word for word,
Are
but
you
I'm
gonna
gonna
share your
talk
screen?
through it. Yeah, but show me the painting first, because I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. It's not totally done.
Beautiful. Oh, I love how the dress flows. How did you make it so like?
My favorite part is the stone wall and
Oh,
the bushes. They look pretty good. Not this fern over here. Ignore that. But like
oh.
this.
Wait,
this
back it up a little. That's so cute. I love the colors of the green.
Yeah.
They blend so well. But like, how did you get folds in the skirt so perfectly? Like, they're so perfect.
You think they're perfect? I think they're so. The dress isn't done because it actually looks really weird from
Well,
close up. From far
from
away, it looks
far
good.
away, it looks really nice.
Picking, trying to find the like dress color was the hardest part, I think. But I'm excited to paint the piano because it's like so black. It's gonna look nice.
Yeah, it looks really good. That's really impressive.
Yeah. I hope she likes it.
I-
I know it's so weird to get a picture of yourself.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone low key wants one deep down,
That's very true. Who doesn't want a painting of themselves?
very deep down.
I want a painting of myself.
Me too.
Okay, I'm glad we're agreed. All right.
Okay, well,
Let's
the
see
project
project narrative.
narrative. The goal of my project is to provide impactful biblical education, high quality Christian discipleship to 60 high school students from urban churches along the East Coast and surrounding areas over a period of 5 years. And so there's two parts to the program. There's like a summer experience, which is like a getaway vacation Bible school, like high intense, like boot camp type thing. And then the second part is like after the like month or so that they're in the summer experience, they do like continued discipleship with like a mentor, and like they'll have like access to like their cohort, and like they can communicate with each other and encourage each other throughout the year or however long they stay in touch. I think the Bible teaching in urban community churches isn't always meeting the needs of younger people. And so to be able to get them in a place where they can understand their faith and take the time to step back and really look at what I believe, why I believe it, and have an opportunity to just be in an intentional environment that's meant to grow them spiritually, um, and focus on that if that's something that they want to do. Church isn't always the place for that because it's very like, you know, you go in, you learn, you leave. And like churches are doing a lot of changing now, but urban community churches kind of move at a slower pace with that kind of thing. And so it's kind of like you just come in, you go to church and you leave, and you don't ask the pastor questions. You don't go up to people and get your questions answered or clarify this, or and there's not like a lot of initiative being taken outside of church because you really just don't know where to start all the time. So that's the reason behind this. I want to provide a space for people to do that. I want to get some churches involved and to partner with. Yeah.
I had a thought, and I know like you're super like I know you mentioned like you have your reasons for like the urban communities and stuff. But do you ever like get curious about the rural side of things? And I only ask because rural places get forgotten a lot, especially thinking about like, I mean, you said like churches don't change that often, but rural churches is like, you know,
Sis, that's such a good point. Like, I literally haven't thought about it that way. Like, I think that's so true though, because rural places are overlooked because they're so in the middle of nowhere. Like, I low-key don't know how I would reach those people.
and like being from a city, you would never think rural, you know, like
Yeah,
you would never
no,
think, oh shoot, rural people,
no, literally, I
not
don't
rural
think about
people.
them at all. And like,
Yeah.
it's so probably so needed too. And I like I said, I don't even know how to reach a rural person. Like, do they fax still? Like, I'm just
You gotta have a connect. You gotta find somebody from a rural
I'd
place.
have to like get in contact with a rural church, and that's gonna be hard because rural communities are like gangs. Like, they're so close knit.
Rural communities are like gangs. Can you say that? Is that allowed? What?
Because I just mean it in the way that their community is so close knit. Like, they know if you're not from a rural community, and like their ideas are so similar. And like, I'm not saying that all rural communities are like this. I'm just saying that like they can spot someone who's not from there because they think differently. It's just like there's a
Yeah.
culture in rural
No,
community.
I get what you're saying. I think it's just that there's a lot of young people coming out of rural places, especially now, that it might be like smart to look into.
I think so too. And I'm gonna do more research on it and see. But then that would change like
Yeah, probably. I
I
mean, you can always like factor it in later. I just thought it would be interesting to like at least like look at.
I think this project is gonna be doing a lot of branching out in the future because
Mm,
there's a lot of people who need this, like a lot. I think young men need it. I think people like I think Hispanic communities need it. I think there are white communities who need it. I mean, I don't know. I think rural is definitely, I definitely don't want to overlook them. And I might just like put urban in here and then like include them like later on. But yeah, that's something definitely to think about. But yeah, that's it. It's just gonna have a lot of discipleship and stuff like that.
I love that for you.
Thanks. I'm gonna need
Love
your
that for us.
yeah, I was about to say I'm gonna need your help, so you might not want to put it all on me. This has been fun.
It has.
I'm
I'm
gonna
so
stop recording now.
huh?
Unless I'm gonna stop recording now.
Wait. You didn't even end yet.
Oh shoot. I thought we did final thoughts.
Okay, yes, but there has to be a sign off. You can't just be
Signing
like, okay,
off.
all right, sis. All right
I
then.
don't know how to
Hop
end the
off the line, I
podcast.
guess.
Oh,
Hop off
thank you
the line,
guys
I
for
guess.
tuning in. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our website. It's called somethingunnamed.com. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not looking at you at all.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm stopping recording.